welcome to Spicey Cat Jams. I'm Kathy.
I'm Eddie.
And it is Tuesday, January 16th.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what that means? Yes, I'm keeping it. I'm keeping a streak. It's time for Truth Be Told Tuesday. And I have my hubby with me.
Hello again.
First of all, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone that played along last week. We have some very interesting friends.
Mm-hmm.
As far as last week's question was, what was your first real job? So
from babysitting to waitressing, we had one car hop. I think we had.
Oh yes,
we had a car hop on there, and
our friend
then
Heather, who we didn't know was this cool. She worked for A&W. She had the little like metal change thing on her belt.
Change counter, yeah.
Yeah.
And to working in barns. One friend had hog barns until she moved up and went indoors.
Indoors.
Clean indoors. And then
we had some like nurse's aide, nursing home type people. Somebody worked in a mail room. I'm showing you kind of everybody's while we're talking, but it was pretty fun. Of course, we had the lion tamer, in case nobody figured out who that was. Yeah. But hey, we didn't get your answer, Eddie. Why don't you tell the friends? Some could be your very first job or some of your first jobs that you did.
I think one of the first jobs where I actually profited or made money off of was when I was young. When our family first moved to Minnesota, we kind of were like migrant workers. And we started working in the fields, more specifically the bean fields, where we were going along, you know, picking weeds and stuff like that. This is way before any of the other machinery and stuff like that. So that's what we were doing. And me, I wasn't up to par with what all the adults are doing. I would help out. You know, I'd have lesser of a role of picking weeds.
Yeah, but how old were you?
I don't know. I was 7, 8 years old to begin with.
So this was before child labor laws.
No, yeah, you know, and I'd still go with the family. You know, sometimes in the morning I just, you know, would sleep in the car, wake up, and I'd just hang out at the vehicle while the family's out in the field. And when they got hotter, I'd just grab the water canteen and I'd meet them at the end of the rows. And as I got older, I started going in there, and then I'd work, you know, do a bunch of other different things. And we'd park the vehicle right where we started in the morning. Halfway through, you know, my dad would have me go and get the car and drive either on a dirt road or in a ditch.
When you were 7, you were driving a car?
No, it was more when I got older.
Like 10?
10, 12 years old, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, about 12 years old. You know, just jumping in the... It was an old International Scout, I think, or something like that. It was an old International. And jump in that and then move the vehicle forward and whatnot. It wasn't going too far, too fast. It was just, you know, put it in drive and basically coast it. But yeah, you know, it's still part of my driving experience. So.
Okay. That was a good kind of first job. What was the first job where you actually, like, filled out an application?
Filled out an application.
Maybe had an interview. Maybe not.
Pizza delivery.
Pizza delivery here in Gaylord?
Yeah. I was doing pizza delivery. It was my first car, too, which is a 79 T-Bird. White with maroon. So
another possible question.
Yeah, but we'll move on to that. I'd really love to hear the car hop person, what kind of cars they've seen and whatnot.
If they remember.
What kind of, you know, what was the most memorable car that she's seen, and you know, something like that. That was kind of interesting. I think that'd be kind of an interesting job.
You do know that if this was a girl, which it was, and the girl we know would have been in high school. Maybe this is foreign to you, but trust me, the girls at that age, we didn't care about the cars. We cared about the guy behind the steering wheel. Didn't, you know.
But there's still, you know, would you have rather gone with the guy that's good looking and have the crappiest, ugliest bulk bucket, or would you have him go with a nice shiny car that, you know, had some speed and turn other people's heads, but yet you were the cool one that was sitting in that car, people watching you and you being in envy.
Well, I may be the exception. I would take the guy,
there you go,
good-looking guy in the junker that tipped me well.
oh, that tipped you well, yeah. Oh.
Anyway, that was last week's question. So today we want to know. Oh, and one thing, because we just did this in our house, so now we know all about the world of watching YouTube on your television. Well, when you watch YouTube on your television, you don't have the ability to comment.
No.
Do you know that?
No.
You don't.
Unless... No, you can't.
You can't. So if you...
At least not that we know of. Not with our little system.
Most friends I've talked to that
okay.
say they can't. So if you are watching this on your television, your smart TV, and you want to play along, well, you either need to remember when you're on your phone or your desktop, or pull out your phone and either hop up to YouTube, or you can go to our Facebook page or Instagram, Spicey Cat Jams, and send me a message or post out there. So, you know, most of us are sitting there on our phones while we're watching it, but other than that, please comment your answers down below to this week's question, which I'm going to let him throw out in a minute. And then, disclaimer, because we forgot to say this at the beginning, today's question and next week's question and the following week. So for the next 3 weeks, we will have our videos post, but we are not going to be able to edit, so I can't recap what all the answers were. So please still answer the question, and we'll do a recap. We're going to go on a little vacation, so I'll have these scheduled to post while we're gone, but I'm not going to be able to do a recap. So
this week's question, which will tie in for when we're gone, well, we're gone now, but in the future where we're gone, not this future, but you know what I mean. But it has to do with last week's question of your job was, were you able to listen to music while you're working, and what kind of music did you prefer to listen to, or did you have to listen, like if you work fast food, was it at Muzak, or because somebody was older, you know, and what kind of music do you enjoy listening to? And also, because we're going on vacation, we listen to music on road trips, so that has to do with the type of music we like. So was it music that you get to listen to, somebody else's, or just one of those subscribed music like Muzak or Sirius or something like that?
Okay, that's a whole lot of questions, but I think I understand what you're trying to say. Because most of our friends that watch us, probably your first job was before we had Walkman. Well, we had Walkmans, but you couldn't have those at work, and you didn't have like your music on your phone and stuff.
Well, no, but you still had the radio going, you know, and stuff like that. You know, I'm pretty sure the one that commented about working in the barns. Well, I don't know if she could listen to music unless you played it loud enough. But, you know, there's the car hop, or maybe, you know, you worked in a quieter setting where people enjoyed music. You know, music soothes the soul in some of these work jobs that they worked at. It helped them work a little bit better. So.
Okay, so to answer the question then, do you want to answer first or should I?
Go ahead.
So, what I remember is we would bring, first at the job where I cleaned apartments all the time, I had like a little tiny transistors out there called transistor radio that had batteries, little antenna, and we would just get the radio station. And then when I moved into my job at the gas station where I would cashier, I always had the popular radio station playing, and I was the queen of being caller 9. I had the system figured out. All the local DJs knew me. I sounded pretty good on the radio. They're like, oh, Kathy, hey, you just won tickets to whatever. Because I could never win at home, but at work, I had the, you know, redial button. And it's like, oh, once you got in and you were like, sorry, you're caller number 2. I had it down so I could keep getting in. So, but it was like the top 40 of the time, which would have been 80s, early 90s. And I loved it. So yes, I got to listen to music, and I still do. Some people like things quiet, and I like music for background. One of my college roommates she needed it quiet to study, so she'd go to the library. I needed music on in the background. And to this day, that's still how I operate.
What were a couple of your favorite artists?
Oh my God, this was back in the 80s. I don't know.
Oh, no, back then or now, because you still listen to music now when you're at work.
Oh, I know, but that would be... We'll keep it to what we're talking about, so...
Okay.
Oh, back then it was, any of the big hair bands, the Bangles, the Go-Go's. Those were good. Billy Joel, I've been a huge fan of his forever, and he's still playing, so... Yeah. Those are just some of them. Okay, so were you allowed to listen to music when you were in the fields, or?
Yep. Walkmans were around that time.
Okay.
I don't know if it was really the tape players, but they had, just the little radio players with the headphones was another thing. Cassette players also were the big thing as well, down the road.
So you didn't have, like, the boom box or something, so
no,
everyone could...
No, you couldn't do that. It was... You're out in the wide open where you couldn't really hear it.
Unless you were close to that.
When I was older and working in the fields, when I was in my double digit of age, the beginning of my double digits, 10, 11, I had a little cassette player that I had with, and only carried a couple sets, because anybody who's worked in the fields knows that it doesn't last. They get wet and dirt, yeah, so.
That makes sense.
And I had a spendy one of those waterproofs.
That doesn't surprise me. The king of needs the best of everything.
Well, it made sense because that's...
That wasn't funny. That was true.
So, but I listened to a lot of... I listened to basically a lot at the time what my parents... What I grew up with, which is basically what my parents listened to a lot, and were more of the Tex-Mex, Tejano music. It was in Spanish. And then also, because I was the youngest of four, I listened to what they listened to. And actually, Queen was one of my favorite ones.
Oh, yeah, Queen was good.
That was my first 8-track, was Queen.
Okay, how am I older than you and I did not have 8 tracks?
I had older siblings that had 8-track players. Mom and Dad had an 8-track player too that they had with their music too. So the kids, so it's not like, Mom and Dad went out to buy the 8-track for the kids. Mom and Dad had that record 8-track player system, Wi-Fi system.
Oh,
not Wi-Fi, Mi-Fi.
Hi-Fi.
Hi-Fi. Something Fi, the Hi-Fi system.
Anyone that's under 30 is like thinking we're talking in tongues.
So it was your record player and an 8-track player, and then later models had that cassette player in there, and that was the top of the line stuff. But Mom and Dad went out and had their own 8-tracks also, so all the kids had to do was get their own 8-tracks, and they were allowed to use it sometimes when
they weren't.
Mom and Dad weren't around.
Yeah, we never had. We just had the record player, the LP player. Mm-hmm. We never had the 8-track.
So I listened to Queen, a lot of the 70s music too, and I grew up with it. So I still enjoy that. That's kind of my comfort music. Some of that, but also blues and country, older country type of thing. So.
Okay. Well, there you go. You learned something about us, and now we want to learn something about you.
That's right.
So comment. It's kind of a loose question. We're not real... This is kind of a vague question. Like, thinking back to when you were first working, if you had music, and what kind it was, if you liked it. And,
we're not going to make you think too hard.
Or just a music your favorite, when you first got into music, maybe some of your favorite groups.
Or is there music that when you're cleaning around the house or whatever?
Do you know little Miss Sarah? Seasoned friends, you know Sarah. She likes to listen to big band music while she's cleaning house.
Huh, there you go.
You would have never thought it.
Yeah.
Some of her favorite stations is like the 40s on 4. Things we don't know. And Kim, well, she's not here, so I'm sure she'll have something to say in the comments.
Yeah, what kind of music when you're taming lions did you play?
Did you listen to? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, friends.
Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
And partaking in our, Truth Be Told Tuesday. And we appreciate all your answers and just for watching. And again, if you can't comment on, since you can't comment on TV, like Kathy mentioned, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Snapchat.
Yep.
Snapchat, if you send me a written one, then I'll screenshot and save it. Some people will send me a video, which is great. I love it, but I'm not smart enough to save that. So, yeah. But yeah, and then come back next week, of course, for the next question, and just know that we'll be doing a recap in a couple weeks. But we'll be reading your comments while we're on vacation and trying to respond. So
yes, we will. We will respond. We just won't be able to give you live feedback on, a taping of it. So,
and a video response.
So we will be watching, and thank you again for partaking. While we're on vacation, we still care about you.
Yes, we always care, and you always matter. So.
That's right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you again next week. Bye.